Well, hello, beautiful ones. It's Stacey here, the head Vixen of the Vixen Academy. And I hope y'all are doing really good tonight because I'm doing great. And I wanted to share some fun stuff with you this week. I got a little bit of show and tell. I want to share with you the kitchen transformation and how she is. But I also wanted to share with you as I'm sharing the transformation, even lessons and tips, along the way that I've learned, from my digital nomad experience and this whole life expansion and journey I've been on for the past 18 months. And so I'm just so looking forward to sharing with you what has become a true passion, and my heart is singing so bright. And I know most of it, though, is because I'm finally living and being in my home, my own space after a year and a half. So, I want to share this along with you, right? And so let's kind of like hop on into things. And also, in the spirit of doing new stuff, I am testing out, various things on how to deliver content to you that is easy for me, because if it's easy for me, it shows and it comes out when I'm recording, and I know it creates a better experience for you. So, this is not about being perfect. This is about trying out things, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. And it's okay if other people are watching you in the middle of your process. And this is coming back from someone who, like I say, I'm a recovered perfectionist, and really embracing the Japanese concept of wabi sabi. And if you miss what that was, wabi sabi is a Japanese concept, like I said, and it really stands for seeing the gift and the beauty in imperfection. So that is something I am embracing within my life. I'm embracing more wabi sabi, because in doing that, it just sets myself free, and it also can set you free from the anxiety that all creates. So I just want to let you know that, just trying out a couple of different things, trying to figure out how to hide certain elements, on the video. So this is not perfect, but I'm testing out something new. So let's get hopping into that transformation. All right. So do y'all remember this? If you've been with me for a while, this was one of the renderings or design I did for my kitchen with the first designer, or the first builder that I actually fired. And boy, if that wasn't a lemonade moment. And definitely it was an obstacle that definitely turned into an amazing opportunity that I've been able to experience, even with some of the ups and downs. And so I want you to take a good look of what the thought was, what the dream was for the kitchen, right? Because now I'm going to be sharing with you the reality of that. So it's no longer a dream, a sketch thing on a computer. It's now 3D, and I can touch it, live it, and embrace it, and share it with you. And to also remind you that you too can turn your dreams into a reality. And so here's what my kitchen looked like when builder number 2 delivered it. Very far from a dream right now, right? It is a step, it's halfway there. It's halfway there. And as you can see, there's no floor, there's no handles, there are no floating shelves on the walls. There isn't even a refrigerator that's over there either. And so this is the canvas that I got the opportunity to really show my creativity. And so to first do that, I had to do some learning of my own. And builder number 2 didn't offer floating shelves or anything of that assortment. It was like cabinets or no cabinets. So I went with no cabinets because I really wanted floating shelves. And something else that I really also love is butcher block, but I don't like it as a counter surface for various reasons. But I was like, all right, this will be my opportunity to get that in my house. And so I took on the opportunity to learn how to sand wood. And then after sanding the wood, yes, this was my first time ever sanding anything. And then after sanding the wood, I actually learned how to properly stain it. And they have these staining mitts. I didn't even know they existed. I was thinking, a rag or a brush, but it worked perfectly. And so I was out on my deck staining the butcher block that would turn into being my floating shelves. And so this is how the first part of it turned out. There you go. So this is the reality of what I'm starting to do. Now, as you can see with the first floating shelves, I do have white oversized subway tiles with white grout. And that's why it may look like there's nothing there, but there actually is. It's tile. And so here's part of the reality. And I did so much with that butcher block because builder number one wanted to charge me, this is for floating shelves now, wanted to charge me $8,000 to do floating shelves in the kitchen and the bedroom. $8,000. And I said to him, what are you smoking? That is ridiculous, right? And so I was like, no. So with builder number two, since they didn't even give me that option, well, what I did is I just went and procured it. And the same company or business I got my floors from, when I was in their showroom, I saw their butcher block and then I saw their price. And then I was like, sold. All right. Because I will share at the end, because I got a 12-foot slab and an 8-foot slab of butcher block. And I used it in so many different ways throughout my house, even in ways I didn't think I was going to. And it was all divine and it was all beautiful. And I hope you enjoy it as well. So because what's going to be coming up, so just before we get to the before and after pictures of what's coming up, I really look at the picture on this screen and I say to myself, wow, that's mine. The 18 months, the 2-3 years of really focusing on this dream, and now it is real because it is a chapter in my life. And that is what life truly is about, everybody. My aunt, who's like a second mother, Betty Boo is what we call her. She said there is a reason for every season. And what happens is when we go through big life transformations, that is like a chapter in a book. And so if we start thinking about our lives just like a chapter in a book, we know that whatever we are currently experiencing, if it's challenging, it is temporary. And if it is good, that is also temporary. Because what goes up comes down and what goes down comes up. And that is how life is. And so what happens is, this dream that I've had, and now I'm living in the reality of it. This is one chapter that has been completed. And now I'm embarking on the next chapter in my life. This is why they call it the book of life, right? And so I want you to think about what is currently going on in your life. If you are going through challenges and if you said to yourself, you know what, this is temporary, I want you then to check into your body and to see how does that feel. And then if you are on a good slope, going up, and you also know that that too is only temporary. With that, have an attitude of gratitude and appreciation, because that is what will accelerate that to continue in your life. Or if there's a downtime, it will be short-lived. And so I want you to kind of think about that. Because in terms of turning your dreams into reality, it is feasible when you know and feel within yourself that you deserve it because you are worthy. And so as I'm going through and sharing more of my journey and opening up, my home, this is the first time I've ever done this. So it is definitely a stretch for me. But one of the things I want to infuse within the tiny vixen is connection and community. Connection and community. So you're first connected to yourself. When you're connected to yourself, it's easier for you to be connected to your community. And so let's continue on with my show and tell of the kitchen transformation of the tiny vixen and how it is definitely living the dream. All right. So on this next thing, now here is one example of how I'm using some of the additional butcher block. It is for underneath my range. And I know y'all are looking at it and saying, okay, there's something that seems to be missing in there. Well, I opted to do things a little bit more differently and unique to myself. And I said to myself, why not? I can. And if I don't like it, I can always change it out. And so even things that you may not like, it's just temporary. You can always change it out. And so this is how this area underneath my stove was transformed. All righty. So as you can see, the white in the back is gone. And that butcher block that was underneath there has been built into not only a stand for my Panasonic 4-in-1 unit, but it also houses underneath that door all of my bakeware that I've taken with me. And so what happens is, to be really efficient with space, I chose not to have a microwave above my range. Instead, I have this Panasonic, which is a microwave, air fryer, a convection oven, and a broiler. And I've used 2 of the 4 functions, and I'm loving it so far. So let's continue on in this kitchen transformation. All right. Now, those cabinets in those drawers, right? So I think you may have seen when the kitchen arrived, there weren't any handles on there because I knew I was going to be zhuzhing it up myself. But I didn't trust myself with the drills, so I have the contractor go ahead and do the drills. And if you're wondering what is that piece of wood on my drawer, well, that is called a jig. I just learned that. And what a jig is, it's a template of where to drill the hole so they're all consistent, all level, and it looks good. So he was the expert with the drill, but what I did is I installed all the handles in the entire house. And so this is what that transformation looks like. So it went from plain Jane to a little bit of sass. So like we said, the Vixen Academy is feminine leadership training, but the sassy and provocative way. So this is how I am living up to the sass part of the Vixen Academy. And so with that, I just, the gold tones, for having chrome and silver for so long, I'm so happy with the gold tones because it just makes my heart sing. And so here is the next transformation that was very, very interesting. And it was with my refrigerator. So my refrigerator went from this to that. So yes, now here's the story behind the refrigerator, y'all. This is the 4th refrigerator that I went through, because when you're looking at measurements on a blueprint, when you have it in 3D form, it's a totally different ballgame. All right. So this is why also lessons learned: buy the appliances after it is delivered. Whatever it is, the appliances have to go into, unless if you already have the house, then yeah, you already have it there. But if you're doing something brand new, and I'm so glad I waited until the house was delivered before I purchased my refrigerator. And thank you, Lowe's, for searching for this refrigerator for me, because I had to squeeze the refrigerator through a narrow channel so that she can fit in that spot. So, and me, personal preference, I'm not into chrome. So as you can see, if you remember on the original design, I had a red refrigerator. Now that I'm in this space, I was like, I want to do something different. I want my refrigerator to match the cabinets in my kitchen. So just like my cabinets are, or should I say, just like I have a tuxedo kitchen with my cabinets, even my refrigerator is tuxedo. For the bottom to match with the bottom cabinets, and the white matches with the white cabinets. So that is my before and after with my sassy refrigerator. All right, so here's a clue into my next transformation. Bottles, yes. 24 uniform spice bottles. A first in my kitchen ever. Now, that may surprise some of you, especially for those of you that have known me for a while, because you're saying, you are an organized person, but if you were to look at my spice rack, not so much. So with living this dream, because I have to tell you, Tiny Vixen is my tiny dream mansion. And she is also a part of your life as well. And I want to do things that I've never done before for myself, because I know that this is how I appreciate my own self-worth, is doing things for me, not because I have to, but because I want to. So think about that even for you. With your self-worth, doing things for yourself because you want to, not because you have to. It's not an obligation. And so with it not being an obligation, you have enthusiasm to do things differently. And so this is what I did with those bottles. I went from that little mismatch of chaos up there to that. Now, here's something else I do. I'm very, very proud to share with you. I actually made that spice rack. Yes, I did. And I even repurposed and made the riser that is on that spice rack as well. And just to give you a comparison, with builder number one, the spice rack I was going to get there was going to cost somewhere around $200. Now, in my tiny mansion, since I had to create this myself, that spice rack cost me a whopping $15 to make. And that's how I figured the cost of it is the amount of wood that I used, right? Compared to the total amount for that entire slab. And the black riser that I used there is also the butcher block, but it's stained black for a different project that was done in the house, that I designed in the house. So this is what I did here. And this was an idea that I got during my digital nomad journey. With all the different places, Airbnbs, hostels, relatives, friends' houses, I mean, you name it, hotels that I stayed in over a year and a half, I saw and experienced this style in one of the long stays that I had. And I just loved it. And so I saw here was my opportunity to actually go ahead and do that. So I did. And I'm very, very pleased with that decision. So here's my next transformation. All right, so this is the left side of my kitchen. You can see what it went from. Like I said, no floors, no handles, no shelving, to what you see on the right. My flooring is in, and yet again, thank you, LL Flooring. My handles are on. Thank you, Wayfair. My butcher block floating shelves are up. Thank you, Wayfair. And you can see the refrigerator is over there. So thank you, Lowe's. And this picture was actually taken before the refrigerator had the opportunity to get wrapped. So here is the other side of my kitchen, the right side. Now, as you can see, look where my range area is. Down below, the doors are off. You can see my 4-in-1 unit and the cabinet furniture that was made there. But look at the change on the top, on the upper cabinets. There are two things that are different. One is, yes, it has handles, but it's a totally different color than the lower cabinet handles. And also, some cabinet doors also came off of the upper cabinets as well. So we can do a special treatment, having floating shelves without having to necessarily build them. So I thought that was really cool. So that is the right side of the kitchen. Now here is what I want to share. All of this spurred the creativity where I was finally able to cook my first meal in my own home after a year and a half. 18 months, y'all. I mean, it's like that colander, for example, that strainer that's right there. I haven't seen that strainer in 18 months. I haven't seen it in 18 months. Because I want to utilize as much space as possible, especially counter space, I went ahead and got things I haven't used in forever, like the paper towel holder, not on the counter. So I installed it underneath my floating shelves, and I made it gold so it can match my hardware, and it is perfect. And then I just got the new thing here where it's the rollout drying rack. And so I use it for additional counter space. And I am so appreciative, because not being in my own home for 18 months, you know, it really shows you how lucky you are when you're able to be in your own private home. And this is why this is my dream home. Is it my final home? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. We never know what the future holds, right? And so, but this is what I'm experiencing now. This is what you are experiencing now. So if you like what you're experiencing, keep on keeping on. But if you really don't like what you're experiencing, each and every day you're being given an opportunity to choose something different so that you can make those shifts in your life that you want to. And going on this nomad journey, that was a big kick for me to do something different. And so thank you for being along with me in this journey. And so I want to give you a different view of the beautiful butcher block, because here is the final luxury for less tip I would love to share with you. Now, remember I said to you earlier, builder number one wanted to charge me $8,000 to do floating shelves in the kitchen and in the bedroom. Now, what I was told, they were maple. It was maple wood that was an inch and a half thick, and they had the brackets that were invisible, and they would be into the wood. And I was just like, it's not worth $8,000. It's not. So being a savvy shopper and really embracing luxury for less, it's like a game to me. When I had the opportunity to design my own home, I said, you know what? I'm going to use butcher block, because I love butcher block and I wanted it somewhere in my house. And so that's where I got all the slabs. And from the two big slabs of butcher block that I got from LL Flooring, it cost me a whopping $650. Yes, $650. Now, you've only seen what I've done with the butcher block in the kitchen. I've used it in several different areas of the house, way more than I would have in design number one. And it was only $650. That's including the hardware, the brackets for these floating shelves that are in there. And so this is how I created what I would say, how I turned a lemon into a lemonade, by turning an obstacle into an opportunity by finding a creative solution. And that's what I did there. So I want to thank you for being with me. And there was the first inklings of my kitchen transformation. I will be having and shooting a video that is going to be a video with me walking through the transformation of the tiny vixen. And so you'll be able to get a better sense of the decor, how it's all coming together as I am unpacking things. And so in week number 4 was my kitchen dream. And this is all about following your dreams, following your bliss. And if you have a dream that you deeply want, it is there for you. You just have to, each and every moment, take that next step forward. If you have a block or if there is resistance, work with someone to help you break through that roadblock, to transcend that resistance. Because on the other side of that is your happiness, is your dream. And like anything in life, like I said earlier, things ebb and flow. I mean, I had some really tough moments on that nomad journey, and I had some really high moments on that nomad journey. And, the toughest moment actually was really bopping around from location to house to house to house to house. That was very challenging for me, especially when they were in very short time spans. And I appreciate home as sanctuary now. And things that used to maybe irritate me, like washing the dishes, don't anymore. Because for a year and a half, for about a year of it, I didn't have a dishwasher. That's why the tiny vixen has a dishwasher. But when I do have to wash dishes, I no longer have an attitude or irritation about it. I use it as a form of meditation and appreciation. So I ask you, what is your dream? You can put it down in the comments below, whether you're looking and listening to this on my website or if you're looking at it on YouTube, right? Especially if you're looking at it on YouTube, give me a thumbs up, man. And put your comment down there. Are you following your dream? And if you are, what is your dream? And if you're not following your dream, what do you feel is the roadblock to that? And sometimes many people say fear has been the roadblock of them even starting to think about their dreams. And so I wanted to open this up and open myself up to you to give you encouragement to follow your dreams. And if you feel so called, just reach out to me and we can have a conversation so I can help you follow your dreams just as I am following mine in this next chapter of my life. And with that, everyone, we are complete and namaste.